Hey there everybody, this is not a video of a game. This is a topic that just hit my mind recently, and so I thought I would just kind of stick my toe into the water, so to speak. And that topic is how baseball board games rate their players. Is it accurate? Do they have the accurate stats? Are they rating them correctly? Are they contradicting each other? In other words, is one game engine rating somebody really good and another game engine rating somebody not so good? Well, my first step into this is going to be looking at the 1989 season. And I've got these two reference books from the 1990 that were put out in 1990 about the 1989 season. The Scouting Report and Bill James' Stats Major League Handbook. Anybody that knows anything about statistics in baseball knows Bill James is like the guru of that, and Stats Inc. is also well known for that as well. In fact, I believe they kind of work in conjunction with each other. So we're going to delve into some player ratings for two games that I have, and the only reason I'm not picking on these two games is just that these two games are the two games that I have the 1989 season cards for. Those two games are Strat-o-matic, and Inside Pitch. So I'm looking, if you want to call it cherry picking, that's fine, but I want to find the best examples of rating players that had either really good or really bad numbers in certain areas, such as fielding, holding runners for pitchers, batting against lefties, batting against righties, things like that. So I scoured the stats to find what I thought were a good representation of roughly about, I don't know, maybe 8-9 players to see how both games compare. And not to make any declaration that one game is better at rating players than the other, but just to lay it out there and let you see for yourself, and you can make your decision as to how you think these two games did as far as rating the players goes, because I'm pretty confident that these guys did a pretty good job, and these were done back in 1990 when that season was fresh in everybody's mind. They had all the numbers, plus they had the scouts there to watch it in real life as well. So, and most of these game companies, when they're producing these cards, are coming back after the fact. Maybe not Strat, but some of the other ones certainly do. So, and they're pretty much just relying on, well, I don't know what they rely on, because we don't know how they do their ratings. We just don't know. They don't know those things. So I wanted to put this out and just give everybody just not a bird's eye view, but a snapshot of particular players I happen to pick out that I think fit these categories, either plus or minus, to check and see how the game does. Before I get started, I did want to look at the pictures here on this book here, Will Clark and Darryl Strawberry. The reason why I wanted to bring those out is, boy, I sure do miss these uniforms, because I used to love the stirrup socks. I wish Major League Baseball would come back with the stirrup socks. I thought that was a classic look, particularly when a team has a stripe on their pants that kind of just goes right down the line. Notice Darryl Strawberry, they got the stripe right here, and the stirrup just kind of carries that line down, and I think it's a really neat look. It's much better than having their pants all the way covering their shoes, or doing the Hunter Pence thing where their pants are way up here. So that's just for free my opinion on uniforms, but I do like this style of uniform better. But that's just an aside that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. All right, so let's get down to business. And when I do the ratings on some of these players, I will actually open this book and show you what the Scouting Report says on these particular players. First thing we're going to look at is something I think is very important in any game, and that is the left-right splits. It's a big part of baseball. If a game does not incorporate left-right splits, as in the basic versions of APA and Strat, I think it's an incomplete game, because you're missing a whole lot of things that real managers have to consider. All right, so let's first off look at, and I picked 3 batters and 2 pitchers to look at. First one I'm going to look at is Dave Stieb. So let's look at Dave Stieb for the Toronto Blue Jays, 1989, And I'm going to have both his cards out here, the Strat card and the inside pitch card. Now the thing I'm looking at with Dave Stieb is, I'll probably give away everything else while I'm doing this, but anyway, he held right-handers to a 187 average, left-handers at 249. So 187 was one of the tops in the league. In fact, I think it was the top in the league at holding runners, batting average against for right-handed pitching. So let me get to the scouting report on Dave Stieb, and we'll show you what the scouting folks had to say about Dave Stieb. And then we'll look and see what these games have to say about Dave Stieb. All right, so in the scouting report, Dave Stieb, it says here, here it is, first in hit batters, lowest batting average versus right-handers, 187. So there you go, right there, talking about, and we'll look at his base running while we're at it. So Stieb also is very good at holding base runners. So we'll do a double duty here. We'll check how the game engine handles, how both game engines handle his at-bats versus right-handed batters and left-handed batters, and we'll also check out how they say about his holding base runners. So let's go to Dave Stieb's card. We'll first start out with inside pitch. So inside pitch, 1989 does come with the, well, all the card seasons I think come with the splits on them. But let's see what we've got here. Now, Dave Stieb does much better against right-handed pitching, so you would expect to see more outs in the right-handed column than the left-handed column. And boy, this card surely does fit the bill. We'll count them up. There's a double asterisk here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 double asterisks that are only pertaining when he faces right-handed batters. If you want to add more to that, there's a strikeout here and a strikeout here that are only against right-handed batters. So, and it's not quite as big, but the out on the double question mark, you get an extra 2 on the right-handed batters. But mainly I'm looking at these double asterisks here. So to me, inside pitch, really good job there. And they've got a -1 on his hold rating, which is, not bad. So I think overall, I think inside pitch did a really good job capturing Dave Stieb. Now he does have a hit by pitch +10. Let's look at his hit by pitch and see if that's a problem. Let's see here. It says, does it give anything about hit by pitch? I don't think this gives the stat for hit by pitch. I thought it did, but I guess it doesn't. I'm trying to find something for hit by pitch and I can't find it. Oh well. We'll see what the Strat card says about hit by pitch because I don't have the hit by pitch numbers in front of me. Well, actually, I can go to this book here, the other book. We'll have more complete. Well, I'll have all the stats on it. So let's go to that real quick and see what Stieb did for hit by pitches. So if we go to Dave Stieb, right here, Dave Stieb, 1989, hit by pitch, he hit 13 batters. So obviously he was, he hit a lot of guys. So that was well represented as well. Now let's look at the Strat card for Dave Stieb. All right, hold -2, that's good because we talked about him being good holding runners. Does he have hit by pitches in here? Let's see. I don't know if he's got any hit by pitches on here. Of course, the hit by pitches may be on just on the batter cards with Strat. I'm trying to remember. I don't think Strat has hit by pitches on their pitcher card. So that may not be the case. But let's look at his lefties and righties. So against righties, column 2, you're not getting a hit at all. Column 3, you've got a slight chance to get a hit on the 9 column. Everything else is an out. Column 1, you do get dinged a little bit on 8, 9, and 10, but that's it. Up here, no hits. Coming over here versus lefties, you got 8, 9, 10 with hits on column 1 again. Column 2, you're not getting anything. Column 3, you do have a single here where that could be a ground out. You got a home run chance here where that could be a walk. A fly out with a ballpark check. So if you wanted to use the ballpark figures, he has a chance to get hit, where in here he does not. So, it's some deference to right-handed hitters doing better against right-handed hitters. But in my analysis, I think inside pitch represents Dave Stieb much better for the left-right splits, just based on what I'm seeing here. Like I said, I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm just showing you the two things and showing you what I observe. So in this case, I'm giving this one to inside pitch. So I'm going to put my inside pitch, the guys I think inside pitch does better to my left, and the ones I think Strat does better to the right, and then we'll see who has more, I guess. All right, let's look at another pitcher while we're at pitchers. Let's look at the other pitcher that I have for left-right splits, and that's a lefty reliever. That's a classic in baseball, or lefty relievers. There's guys that make careers out of doing nothing but throwing left-handed as a relief pitcher, and that's how they make their living. So we're going to look at a veteran lefty by the name of Tony Fossis. Pitched for the Milwaukee Brewers. So let's look at Tony Fossis first of all. They don't have a picture of him for some strange reason, but anyway, he held lefties to a 185 average and righties 296. So obviously much better against the lefties. It says here, he's the guy they called on when they needed someone to strike out a hitter. He did that job superbly, holding lefties to a 185 average. Fossis had some problems with righties, but overall did a fine job. All right, so obviously he does, he had trouble with right-handed batters. Let's see if the game companies represent that. All right, we'll first start this time with Strat. So Strat, on his lefty card, column 1, nothing, no hits at all. Column 2, you got a couple of small chances down here, slight chances. Well, 11's a straight single, but 12 is a split chance. Column 3 against lefties, you got really one number here. We got a chance, and actually two numbers up here. This one I don't even give a chance for. It's a 5% chance, so I'm not even really counting that. Against righties, column 3, they light him up. So that definitely is a good representation in my opinion, because column 3, they really light him up big time. 7 and 8s are singles. And of course, and so is 6. So 6, 7, 8. When you're 6, 7, 8 or giving up hits, you are in trouble. Whereas over here, 6, 7, 8, you got to walk in basically probably 2 outs. So Strat does really well on that. Let's look at inside pitch, and we'll look at the left side of the slash because that's the lefty splits. And we've got, see if we got any star lines here. We got one star line there, and that's all I see is one star line. However, for strikeout purposes, I'm seeing a K plus here, K plus here, K plus here, K here, K here, K plus, K plus, K plus. So I'm seeing a significant result here. And also on this double question mark, a left-handed batter, if he gets the 1 through 12, it's a star line for an out. Right-handed batter, he gets a hit. So that's where a lot of that left-right's coming in, and then they're represented with the strikeouts as well. Only one star line, but I think the double question mark, I guess, will help. Where's that double? Right here. Will help with that also. So they both do a pretty good job on that. I think maybe, well, it's kind of hard. It's almost a split, almost a toss-up. But I'll give this one to Strat by a hair. Barely. But not to say inside pitch didn't do a good job, because they did. All right, now let's look at the batters, lefty-righties. All right, first we'll look at 2 Orioles, because that's just who I happen to turn to first. It's 2 Orioles. All right, first guy we're going to look at is Steve Finley. So let's look at Steve Finley, and we'll bring up his report on the scouting report. As soon as I can turn to it. Here it is. Whoops. Steve Finley. There he is. Steve Finley. Against lefties, 158. Against righties, 268. In fact, he only had 38 at-bats against lefties, which tells you that Frank Robinson didn't have a lot of confidence playing him against left-handed pitching. So if you're playing a game like basic Strat, then if you use Finley just out, because he's got a 249 average, you want to use him against, tough lefties. I don't think that's keeping the spirit of the game, and I think it's almost cheating, in my opinion. So if you want to play it right, then you follow this model. So we'll see if the game companies also reflect this, where he can't hit lefties. So this time we'll start with inside pitch. Finley against lefties on inside pitch. There are 2 question marks here. 2 question marks, but there's no split. There's no reference to a split. In fact, there's nothing here on Steve Finley. You would think he hit 249 against lefties and righties. So this right here, in my opinion, is a big-time drastic fail from inside pitch rating Steve Finley. This is a horribly rated card. You might get the 249, but you're not going to get the split because there's no allowance for anything on here at all. Nothing. Strikeouts are the same. The walks are the same. The home run, I mean, everything. It's just a generic card. So to me, it looks like this was not even rated for a lefty-righty. This looks like something that was just thrown together using the 249 average. Not trying to trash them. I'm just telling you what I see. All right, now let's look at the Strat card for Steve Finley. Now, Strat for Steve Finley. Let's see here. Are there any big advantages to the righties? Well, he's got a couple singles here. Couple of singles here. Single here. Lefties, nothing in column 2 for a hit. He's got a single there. Home run chance there. Double chance, but small chances, obviously. He's got a home run chance here. Ballpark diamond shot here, but not a whole lot of hits. So there's no, the only guaranteed hit for Steve Finley is a 1-3. Everything else is either a chance for a hit or no chance for a hit. Over here on the right-hand side, we've got 2 singles right here that are guaranteed. Let's see, on this column, we got 2 singles that are guaranteed. And over here, we got 2 singles. So each column has 2 singles that are guaranteed. So obviously, Strat wins the day on that card. So that time, Steve Finley and Strat do the best job on him. All right, now let's go to Larry Sheets, who's a teammate of 1989 Orioles of Finley. And I just realized I forgot to put my little microphone on, but it's too late now. I'm not going to worry about it. Hopefully the sound's okay. I'll try to stay close to the phone. I'm just kind of doing this off the cuff, so I didn't really plan to do it. It's just something that hit me. All right, here's Larry Sheets. And as you can see, Larry Sheets, 154 against lefties, 257 against righties, and you see the few at-bats he had against lefties. So obviously, again, Frank Robinson not wanting to expose him to left-handed pitching. So let's see how the game companies do. We'll start with Strat this time. We'll go to Strat, and let's see what he gets against lefties. Now, he does have 2 singles here against lefties. One's guaranteed, and one's pretty much, it depends on the ballpark. Column 2, nothing. Column 3, nothing. So, but over here on the right-hand side, column 1, home run, guaranteed hit, guaranteed hit, guaranteed hit. And look here, 8 through 12 in column 2, all hits. So Strat does a good job of representing that. Let's check out inside pitch. And once again, I'm seeing a generic card for the Orioles on inside pitch. Very disappointing. There's no, everything is exactly equal, 13, 6, 9, and so there's nothing there. So I'm wondering if maybe the Orioles didn't get carded correctly or didn't get fully researched or whatever the case may be. I bought this 89 inside pitch set specifically to play the Orioles because they had that nice season in 1989, but now looking at the cards, I'm starting to question myself because I don't see it. There's nothing there. I mean, if somebody can show me something, maybe I'm missing something, tell me. But I don't see anything. There are no slashes with left-right, and there's no, I mean, these are identical. These are just mimicking. These look like cookie-cutter rating cards. So once again, inside pitch crapped the bed on that one, and Strat all over it. So Strat wins the day there. Now we'll go to the final. Those were 2 lefties that couldn't hit lefties. Now we'll go to a right-handed batter that feasted on lefties, and we'll see if the game captured that as well. And that's usually your platoon-type players or your marginal players. So in this case, we're looking at the Minnesota Twins and Carmen Castillo. So let's look at Carmen Castillo from the Twins. There he is, Carmen Castillo. Hit 257 on the season, but 316 against lefties, only 111 against righties. You can see how he had 155 at-bats against lefties, only 63 against righties. It says here, 4th in slugging percentage versus pitchers. Batters with 125 plate appearances against left-handers. So he clubbed left-handed pitching, basically. So and he had 8 home runs against lefties, none against righties. So let's see if the game companies reflect that. We'll start with, this time, inside pitch. So we'll go to Carmen Castillo. And this one's much better for inside pitch. This one you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slashes, as well as, let's see, 1, 2, counting 2 question marks, which up here much better chances for hits for lefties. And again, home runs, lefties a 20, righties a 0. That's spot on. The walks, look at that, 10-2. That's spot on. So here, Carmen Castillo is represented beautifully on the inside pitch card. It's going to be hard for Strat to top that. Let's see. So Strat against, we know he struggles against righties, so he's got nothing here on column 1. He's got a chance, he's got a triple here in column 3, or column 2, number 3, so he does have a triple chance there. And his 2 has a good chance for a home run or a triple there. Column 3, pretty much one chance for a hit. Chance for a hit there. Okay, let's see what he does against lefties. Lefties, he does pretty well 7, 8, and 9 on the column 3. And he's got some super home run power up here on 2 and 3. So the fact that he has a home run chance here on column 2, I don't get, because he never hit a home run against right-handed pitching. So how can he have 2 home run chances against right-handers? To me, this is a weaker card. This one definitely goes to inside pitch, because since Carmen Castillo did not hit any home runs against right-handed pitching, he should not have any home run chances on his card at all. This is my opinion. So to me, this one goes to inside pitch all the way. All right, so that's the batters with the lefty-righty splits. Now let's look at the next functionality, or if you want to call it that. And I'm going to call that, or call this, holding base runners in the running game. And the first person we're going to look at is the Boston Red Sox, Mike Boddicker. So let's look at Boddicker, and we'll get what these scouts say about Boddicker. So there's Mike Boddicker. Let's look at what he has to say, or what they have to say about him. He can be stolen on because his pitches take a while to make it to the plate. All right, so that means he gives up some steals big time. All right, let's see what the game engine does. First, let's look at Strat. Strat rates him as a -3 hole rating. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound too good. That doesn't sound right at all. If they can steal him pretty easily, why is he a -3 hole rating? Crap the bed, Strat. You crap the bed. All right, now let's look at inside pitch. At least they gave us +1 for the stolen base. The hold ratings is even, but I would have gone up on that as well, I think. But at least they acknowledge that he gives up a little bit more, can be run on a little bit. So by a narrow margin, I give this to inside pitch because Strat just crapped the bed, basically. All right, now let's look at the next holding runners, and that's going to be Rick Sutcliffe of the Chicago Cubs. So I need to flip over to my Rick Sutcliffe part. Chicago Cubs. Let's find Mr. Sutcliffe. And there he is. Let's see what the scouts had to say about Rick Sutcliffe. All right, Rick Sutcliffe, it says here, if Sutcliffe has a glaring weakness, it's the inability to hold runners on. All right, enough said. If he has a glaring weakness, it's the inability to hold runners on. All right, let's go to inside pitch. They're the first ones this time. Can he hold runners on? No, they've got the +1 and +1. So good job there on that from inside pitch. For Strat, +3. So, I guess that's pretty good as well. So I'll give them both a push on that. We'll call that a push. We'll call that even. I won't give either one an advantage. We'll just call it even. All right, now let's go to Dwight Gooden. Why don't we? Of the Mets. Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. No, we won't get into that. All right, so Dwight Gooden. Dwight Sally Gooden, as a song once said. That's, I believe John Denver said he would play Sally Gooden all day if he could. So this is Dwight Gooden right here. His one glaring deficiency is an inability to hold runners. 30 stolen bases in a shortened season. So 30 stolen bases against. So obviously his inability to hold runners is his glaring weakness. Let's go start with Strat this time. And they've given Gooden a +9. Very good, Strat. You got that one. All right. Inside pitch, can you follow suit? Yes, +2, +2. So I give them both kudos for that. They go into the double kudos pile. And the last one to check, going back to the American League, is Bret Saberhagen of the Royals. So we'll look at Bret Saberhagen and see how he does with holding runners. And we'll check the scouting and see what they have to say about Saberhagen's ability to hold runners. once I get to his section, which is right here. So we'll pull up Bret Saberhagen. There he is. It says here, or am I doing this one lefty righty? I forget now which one I'm doing this on. Fielding. Okay, opposing base runners succeeded only 5 of 14 steal attempts, a success rate of 36%. So he has the best pickoff moves among American League right-handers. He erased 12 runners in 1989 while committing just 1 balk. His good pickoff move combined with the hard fastballs makes Saberhagen difficult to run against. Okay, that's all you need to know. He's difficult to run against. Let's check inside pitch. Inside pitch. There you go. -1, -4. Wait a minute. Did I mess something up here with Gooden? Oh, no. Gooden allows runners. That's why it's a plus. Okay, yeah. So this should be a negative. So he's negative at holding runners on, but he's also a -4 at base stealing against. So obviously this is very well represented. And for Strat, a -4. Very good, Strat. Very good inside pitch. You both got the double kudos on that too. So on the holding base runners, both games, in the 3 instances I checked, except for Boddicker, he's the only one I gave that advantage to inside pitch because they, for some reason, Strat gave them a -3, and I have no clue how, because he allows extra base runners. He's not good at holding runners. So 3 out of the 4, they both did well. The 4th one, give it to inside pitch. All right, we have 2 more examples, and both of these are going to be fielding examples. We've hit the left-right splits. We've hit the pitcher hold ratings. Now we're looking at fielding. And we're going to go to Minnesota for Kirby Puckett. Kirby Puckett. Kirby Puckett from Minnesota. And we'll look at his fielding percentage, or fielding scouting report. A perennial Gold Glover, Puckett's strengths are a strong throwing arm and a vertical jump that has allowed him to leap over the dome's fences to take away would-be home runs from opposing batters. Puckett does have defensive weaknesses. He plays a relatively deep center field, allowing singles to fall in that some outfielders might get to. Puckett has worked at playing shallower, and he's made strides in that direction overall. So, according to this, he's got a strong arm, good vertical jump, but sometimes his range may not be as good because he plays too deep. So let's see if the games represent that. All right, we'll start with Strat. Strat gives him a a 1 for his range, a -4 arm. So the -4 arm is very good because of the fact that he has a strong arm. I think the 1 is overrated because if he's letting balls drop in front of him, he should not be given the best rating. I would have given him a 2 here. I think, according to scouting report, if you're a 1, you don't let balls drop in front of you like that. So that one's a little iffy. Let's check inside pitch. I think inside pitch is much better. They gave him a 2 instead of a, well, actually 2 is kind of low, actually, because they should have close to a 5 here. So, yeah, they gave him very limited range, which I think is a little bit off here. And they gave him pretty much no arm strength. Got him a neutral arm, so I think they missed the boat here on this one. So even though I think his rating of a 1 is overrated, I'll give this one to Strat because I think inside pitch fell way short on his rating there. So we'll give this one to Strat. And now we'll look at the last example I have for fielding, and that's an infielder, Ryne Sandberg of the Cubs. So we'll look and see what the scouting report says about Mr. Sandberg. And if anybody knows baseball knows Sandberg is, he's got great range. That's right here in bold print. Great range. See that? Great range. Can't emphasize that enough. Great range, great range, great range. That means Strat should have a 1 there, right? Great range. And that means inside pitch should have a 5. So it should be a 1 and a 5 if we're looking at the cards. Let's look at what it says. Unquestionably, that means there's no debate. Unquestionably, Sandberg is one of the best defensive second basemen of all time. He has no weaknesses. Great range, sure hands, and the ability to make the double play. So that means the pivot should be top-notch in inside pitch. Sandberg has now gone 90 games without an error, a National League record, which he'll try to extend on opening day. So really, he should get the top of everything because he's pretty much the all-world example of fielding. So let's see how the cards pan out. Start with inside pitch this time. Inside pitch only gives him a 3. Wrong. They gave him a 0 on the pivot. Wrong. So inside pitch just crapped the bed on that one. Strat, absolutely a 1. Guaranteed a 1. So Strat wins that one hands down. No question about it. All right, so now let's look at our report card. And we have 3 that are the same. And these are just my opinion based on the findings and the stats I'm looking at. All the pitcher hold ratings are, I gave them both a tie. They all panned out pretty well. On inside pitches advantage, I gave them advantage on versus right-handed pitching to right-handed hitting. A split here for right-handed hitting against left-handed pitching. And on the inability to hold base runners for Mike Boddicker. So the inside pitch wins these 3 competitions. Strat wins the other 5. So Strat wins on the fielding of Sandberg and Puckett. They win on the left to right, the lefties who can't hit lefties for the Sheets and Finley. And they win on Tony Foss's being better against left-handed batters. So that's what I've got there. It's a 5-3 victory for Strat. And these are just, like, again, my opinion, but I'm basing them on what I see. You're welcome to have different views because everybody has their own view of that. But to me, it's 5-3-3 in favor of Strat. Again, like I said, just my opinion. And you can say I'm cherry picking certain ones, but I just went to the ones that stood out to me the most. Take it for what it will. I'm not trying to say that Strat's a better game than inside pitch, although it is. But inside pitch is a very enjoyable game. Although I'm going to have to re-examine and go back and look at all the Orioles of 1989 on inside pitch because the couple of Orioles I've seen look like cookie cutter cards that weren't rated at all for left-right. They just kind of had the generic thing to them. So I don't know if that's an error in production or what, because obviously the stats bear something else out completely. So that's it from here. Just giving you my opinion, showing you what I'm finding, showing you what the guys in 1990 that are these stat gurus thought about the 1989 season. So, you know, you can look at the numbers and make your own choices as to which game you think better represents these players. Overall, I think they both do a good job of doing that, but some games do better than others. So just throwing that out there for food for thought. And like I said, it's not a game, just giving you my insights of what I see. And I'm only doing these 2 games because that's the only seasons I have for 1989. I have a lot more for 1987, so if I can find one of these books for 1987, maybe I'll do something with that because that would give me about, or 77 actually is one of the better ones because I've got like 5 1977 games, so I could do it that way. But for right now, this is all I have for 89, and that was the scouting book that I found. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however the players are rated, and I will see you all down the road.